Winning sometimes seems so easy. For those born with the right genes, gifted the right facilities, blessed with good health and fitness, victory can seem almost assured. But for many athletes, there are hidden obstacles, some of their own making. Others can feel the pressure of the intense spotlight. The trick is fighting back and dancing to the podium with style. The comeback is always sweet, and even sweeter when it's against the odds. When Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson announced his retirement in 2013, he left a legacy that set the standard for coaches everywhere.
There will be good managers that come on because they'll have been watching him. And they'll be saying, well, if this is what he does, this is the way I'm going to do it.
What an incredible figure, what a unique figure, and I don't think anybody else will match what he's done in modern game. His reference is a model of work and someone that is broke ground in football, and is an icon, is a football icon.
Ferguson is an icon, but that doesn't mean he was liked by everyone. Ferguson had a habit of getting under the skin of his opponents. He could be confrontational, sometimes graceless, and even downright antagonistic. But what most provoked his opposition, while endearing himself to United fans, was that above all, he was a winner.
So Alex Ferguson's approach to games was a winning attitude, a winning mentality.
Match after match, title after title, for 27 years at Old Trafford, he built a dynasty that overcame challenges and was sustained through adversity. Fergie always found a way to win, over and over again.
You really think Sir Alex indestructible. You know, we've all been brought up with him. And again, what he did for Manchester United, it's unreal. You know, and the pressure he was under every day to produce, it's phenomenal.
Following a modest playing career in Scotland, Fergie became a manager in 1974, doing a brief stint at East Stirlingshire before moving to St Mirren and winning the second-tier title to catch the eye of top-flight side Aberdeen. Where in 1979-80, his second season, he broke the 15-year-long stranglehold of Glaswegian giants Celtic and Rangers on the Scottish title. A monumental achievement. But his greatest hour in his homeland came in 1983, when he beat Spanish giants Real Madrid to achieve continental glory with the Cup Winners' Cup.
The European Cup Winners' Cup in the Northeast for the first time.
The Cup Winners' Cup was the cherry on top of 3 Scottish Premier Divisions and 4 Scottish Cups from his 8 years with the Dons, making Ferguson a desirable candidate for clubs south of the border.
He was running along the touchline. He was living every minute of it. And Aberdeen playing against Real Madrid, it was everybody just assumed what was going to happen, but it didn't. And they beat Real Madrid, and they beat them convincingly. And Alex then was in the place where he'd always wanted to be, in front.
Manchester United was the first English side to ever win the European Cup in 1968. But by the time Ferguson walked through Old Trafford's doors in 1986, United hadn't won a top-flight title for 19 years.
The United faithful were out in force to welcome new manager Alex Ferguson on his first big day. With a posse of photographers following his every move, the pressure was on.
It took 4 years for Ferguson to win a trophy, the FA Cup. But it was an important victory that helped create the modern United, just as subsequent victories created the legend of Ferguson.
Of course, when he came originally, there was a spell that, it didn't look good, and he could have been given the sack, but they went on to win the FA Cup, and then from then on, success followed along the way.
That success is unmatched by any other manager in England, as Ferguson won 13 Premier League trophies to make the club the most successful in the country, with a record 20 top-flight titles. He also brought 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, a Cup Winners' Cup and 2 Champions Leagues. Including the first treble of Premier League, FA Cup and the Champions League in English football's history. But while Ferguson's trophy haul is legendary, it was how he achieved it that proved most impressive. Up next on Against the Odds. Sir Alex Ferguson's remarkable 27 years at Manchester United was built on 2 key foundations: youth and a winning mentality.
My first job was to raise the mentality of a footballer, to give him a winning mindset and a character that doesn't let him down, because you don't leave your character in the dressing room, you take it on the field with you, no matter. The most important thing was to develop the character.
And through the United Academy, Ferguson was able to teach his players the Manchester United way, long before they made their competitive debuts.
I knew when that team of mine went out in the field at Old Trafford, never let me down. No, we never win every game. Obviously, we never win every game. We'd love to have, we tried to. You know something they never did? They never gave in.
That mentality saw average players exceed expectations and helped good players become great, such as how Ferguson nurtured the precocious youth of Cristiano Ronaldo into a 5-time Ballon d'Or winner.
As I say many times, he taught me everything, and he was like a father for me in football, because he helped me a lot in Manchester United.
But the greatest example of Ferguson's faith in the United Academy came with a group of players who together won the 1992 FA Youth Cup and blossomed into club legends. Having secured United's first title in 26 years in 1993, a League and FA Cup double arrived the following season. But when the next ended trophyless, Ferguson's response was ruthless. Out went the seasoned professionals Mark Hughes, Paul Ince and Andrei Kanchelskis, and in came the 6 schoolboys of Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, brothers Gary and Phil Neville, David Beckham and Ryan Giggs, known collectively as the class of '92.
Well, you have to be a father figure for a lot of the times, but also you need to have a discipline about you that they understand. And you've got to understand that the discipline is not a punishment. It's a reminder of the expectation, the need to be the top, and they all accepted that.
When you have someone like Sir Alex believing in you, you don't want to let him down. So you try hard, you try and do all the right things.
On the opening day of the 1995-96 season, famed Liverpool defender turned pundit Alan Hansen declared, "You can't win anything with kids." A comment that went down in football folklore when at the end of the season, United secured the Premier League and FA Cup double. The league was retained the following season and regained in 1999 as part of the unprecedented treble.
Couldn't tell you the joy and the satisfaction that was within that dressing room. And to see the manager in his element, he doesn't let his guard down too often. But that day he was like a kid. He was running around, he was jumping on everyone. you know, drinking champagne, celebrating like no others, and he felt that he had done the ultimate.
You've always got to look at his judgment on players, because to keep changing teams around the way he has and be so successful, you know, that's a knack, and it's a football brain and intelligence that you've got to keep bringing in great players into the club.
Ferguson dismantled and rebuilt several teams through his time in Manchester, not only because his longevity demanded it, but because of his desire to keep winning.
It's fantastic to go through a 38-week programme of the Premier Division and win it in style with a great bunch of players.
But Ferguson faced no greater test to his abilities than following the Glazer takeover of 2005, the new ownership cutting investment and overseeing rising debts. These issues weren't entirely evident until Ferguson's retirement in 2013, as the Scot continued to win titles, including the 2008 Champions League. But his exit prompted a period of decline. David Moyes led the club to a disappointing 7th place finish, with a near identical squad that had won the league in Ferguson's final season, while rebuilds under the experienced Louis van Gaal and trophy-laden Jose Mourinho also proved uninspiring. That Ferguson endured where others have failed has only increased his legacy. A legacy that is encapsulated by his many achievements, immortalised with a stand named after him inside Old Trafford, and enshrined with a statue that will watch over the Theatre of Dreams long into the future.
I believe in something I was not going to change. And when I come down to United that morning, and the chairman, Martin Edwards and Maurice Watkins, the lawyer, were saying, what are you going to do? What about tomorrow? And I said, well, forget tomorrow. I'm thinking the future.
From a legend of the game to a career that's just getting started, striker Kylian Mbappé is up next on Against the Odds.
What do you want me to say about Kylian Mbappé? Everyone talks about his dribbling, his ease. I always talk about his game intelligence at his age. I have rarely seen that.
In an ideal world, sporting talents are judged on their skill and ability alone. But it's difficult to not bring up Kylian Mbappe's age when discussing the French forward's extraordinary climb from a mere prospect to a global star. One of his youth coaches at AS Bondy, Antonio Riccardi, has said, "You could tell he was different. Kylian could do so much more than the other children." Sure enough, by just 20 years of age, Mbappé had racked up a healthy serving of trophies and individual accolades for club and country. That included, but was not limited to, the Ligue 1 Player of the Year award, 3 consecutive Ligue 1 titles, and a World Cup trophy. Born in December 1998, the same year as Les Bleus' first triumph on the world stage, Mbappé was a hero to a new generation in France, particularly in his boyhood town of Bondy, not far from Paris, where hundreds turned up to honour the striker.
It shows that his hard work has paid off. He never forgets where he comes from, so it's a good thing for us.
Many footballers have shown that it's a struggle for youth stars to keep grounded when the world is at their feet. But in the words of his youth coach, Mbappé is different. Mbappé gave up his entire World Cup salary to a charity that offers sporting opportunities to children with disabilities, amounting to over 400,000 euros.
He is someone who has his head on his shoulders, with a great family around him. He's doing great and never forgets where he's come from.
Mbappe made his professional debut aged just 16 years and 347 days with Monaco, making him Les Monégasques' youngest ever first-team player, breaking the magical Thierry Henry's record set 21 years previously. In just 3 seasons at the Stade Louis II, he bagged a hugely respectable 27 goals in 60 appearances.
He is a very quick player who has good acceleration. He's very interesting mentally because he likes to listen and learn. It's important for him.
26 of his Monaco goals came in the 2016-17 season, when Monaco surprised many by reaching the Champions League semi-finals, and shocked more by dethroning Paris Saint-Germain for the Ligue 1 title. And having witnessed firsthand the damage that Mbappe was capable of, PSG went after him there and then. Mbappe's move to PSG was career-defining. Initially, he arrived on loan with a compulsory purchase clause to keep him in Paris permanently. The price amounting to a staggering 175 million euros. It was the highest fee ever paid for a teenager, and the second highest for any player, behind only PSG's other signing of that transfer window, Neymar. Mbappe's sublime performances alongside the likes of Edinson Cavani and Neymar brought him up to an elite level where he never looked out of place, tearing up the competition with 21 goals and 15 assists in his first season.
I changed everything this year, and I think I adapted myself very well. It could have been worse, and it could have been better, but overall, I think the move has been positive. I have to keep on working, and now I have the World Cup in sight.
The 2018 World Cup was Mbappe's chance to cement himself in the minds of football fans in every corner of the globe. And he did so with flying colours.
What a pleasure it is to watch him play. You have seen the magic, how he touches the ball, how he moves. So we are extremely happy to see youngsters like that playing at such a high level.
At only 19, Mbappe lit up the competition with his maturity, pace, and 4 incredible goals, including one in the final against Croatia, making him the second youngest player to score in a World Cup final, behind a certain Brazilian hero, Pelé. But while comparisons with the 3-time World Cup winner are flattering, the never-satisfied Mbappe is focused on telling his own story, in his own style.
Son style, c'est quelque chose qui vous caractérise.
The style is something that characterizes you. There is nothing better than being yourself and having your own style. I hope to keep developing my style from here to the end of my career.
In his infancy, one of the most exciting talents in world football had achieved what many players could only dream of throughout their entire careers. But Kylian Mbappé was a hero, even before his career had really begun. Up next, he was the centerpiece of 2 teams that defined a generation. The metronomic pass master, Xavi. The history of Barcelona Football Club is littered with heroes. Brilliant footballers who've produced moments of magic to win football matches, cups, and La Liga titles. But few can be held in as high esteem as Xavi, whose impact extended far beyond the towering stands of Camp Nou. Because his career wasn't only about his work on the pitch, but the example he set off it. As Andres Iniesta, his midfield partner at Barca and with the Spanish national team, explained when it came to an end.
The world of football says thank you for everything you have given them, which is a lot. We thank you for being a role model for everybody. Thank you for always thinking first of the team instead of yourself. Thank you for transmitting to us all the values you have learnt during these 24 years in the club. Thank you because your advice has always been authentic football and life lessons to us. Thank you for being the voice of experience among the team. You have been the player who has given us the historical memory necessary to value all we have been able to achieve.
It was in 1998 that Xavi graduated Barca's famed youth academy, La Masia, entering the starting lineup for the Supercopa de España, where despite starting alongside the talents of Philip Cocu, Rivaldo and Luis Enrique, it was Xavi who scored Barca's only goal of the game in a 2-1 loss. But aside from his prolific debut, goals weren't a part of Xavi's brilliance. Composure, positioning and supreme playmaking were what made him great, seeing him become the beating heart of Barcelona's greatest era.
All his passes always have the required speed and precision. Every player who receives a ball from Xavi has no problem with receiving it because the ball has been hit the way it should be. It's a clearly defined system based on keeping the ball, taking the initiative and playing attacking football. Everyone who was at Barcelona or came in knew exactly the football concepts.
In the span of 11 years came 7 of his 8 La Liga titles, 3 Copa del Rey, and an incredible 4 Champions League wins. 2 of them, in 2009 and 2015, completed the first trebles of Spanish football history. And with the second treble coming in his final season at Barca, Xavi received a send-off that was no less than he deserved. It was a fairy tale.
I think Xavi is undoubtedly a number 1. I've had the fortune of having him as a teammate and as a friend during all my career. It has been a privilege.
But Xavi's heroics for Barca may very well pale in comparison to his days with La Roja. Because if not for him, Spain may never have won either the 2010 World Cup or the 2008 and 2012 European Championships. Spain's tiki-taka style was built on the same philosophy Xavi masterfully defined at Barca. Ahead of the 2008 triumph, head coach Luis Aragonés even held private meetings with Xavi to discuss incorporating the rest of the squad into his playing style. He won countless individual awards around that time, named in the team of the tournament in all 3 triumphs, player of the tournament in 2008, he came 3rd in the Ballon d'Or in 2009, the World Cup winning year of 2010, and in 2011, and was named the world's best playmaker 4 years running. But Xavi's role in his nation's greatest triumphs was so much more than what he produced on the pitch, because it was he who united the Spanish team to one cause, at a time when inter-club relationships threatened to tear it apart. The rivalry between Barca and Real Madrid is legendary, steeped in political history that fueled their El Clasico battles.
It's a huge rivalry, not just in football, but in political terms too. It's a different game than any other. They are rival clubs for all competitions.
It was only natural that this led to a split in the Spanish dressing room between those who played for Real and those with Barca. But Xavi, along with Real and Spain captain Iker Casillas, fought to lift their teammates above their club allegiances. A footballer doesn't understand politics, said Xavi. What he wants to do is win. Not all sides of the Real-Barca divide bought into a united Spanish national team, and eventually it came crashing down with a limp World Cup defence in 2014. But by then, Spain's standing in the beautiful game had been raised to new heights. It was the first nation to ever win 3 consecutive major trophies in international football. Future Spain head coach Julen Lopetegui said, "There are lots of players who win things, but few who lay down concepts, ideas, who change the way we think." And Xavi did that. Which is why he's not only a hero of Barcelona or Spain, but the world game.